What's up, Jess?
What's up, Kev? Wow, this is like deja vu.
I know, considering we literally, I think, just did this, 30 seconds
3 minutes ago? About 3 minutes ago. Sorry, folks, we are 4 minutes behind schedule because we had a last-minute technical snafu.
So what they don't tell you when you're setting up for like a YouTube streaming account and stuff is they don't tell you that, I know you're not going to understand this at all, but it's okay because the techies out there will.
Okay.
The stream key that they give you to enter into your recording and broadcasting software changes every time you go live. See, that's not the case with Twitch. Twitch just gives you one generic stream key.
Right.
But I guess it makes sense because you're doing it a little differently, I guess. But we have that figured out now, and that's and here we are. With episode.
It's technically episode 3, but we're going to call it episode 1 because we had a lot of technical difficulty during episode 1. It didn't record, which we thought it would. We ended up having to do it on Twitch because we didn't know that you needed to wait at least 24 hours on YouTube. Once you have created your account, you have to wait 24 hours before you can actually record or go live. And we want to go live because we want to hear from you guys. We would love to make this an interactive type show. We want to hear your thoughts, your experiences on each of the topics, and
your feedback.
Right.
Definitely give us feedback, and you don't have to you don't have to give us your feedback. Using a name, you could do it anonymously if you want to have us talk about your story or anything in relation to the topic that we're discussing. You can do that also anonymously. That way, we don't out anybody's shit.
Speaking of topics, today we are going to revisit the topic we discussed in episode 1, which is Can Exes Be Friends? Because I heard some feedback from people that actually listened to that episode, and we had mic issues. Like I said, technical difficulties going on. Our mics were going in and out. We've since gotten some new mics and new headphones, and we are definitely more
I think a little more professional.
We're definitely a little more professional than we were before, and it was our first time, so we just didn't really know what to expect. But
it's mostly my fault too, because I should have really done more prep than I did for setting everything up, and I kind of tried to rush it because I had done a podcast before with a couple certain people that were nameless.
But you did a podcast together.
I know.
Smalls, I know you're listening, and I know exactly what I'm talking about.
So I guess us doing a podcast bonds us even further than we already are.
In a different way.
Okay.
So we were always bonded, personally, because we've been in a friendship for such a long time. But now we're also bound in a professional way because we're partners at this.
Right.
So, it matters, making the time and
I gotta give Jess some credit here because she she doesn't know a lot of the technical aspects of it, but when it comes to the social media and stuff, you're on your game, man.
Well, I mean, it's easy for me, and it's interesting. So we're okay. So obviously we're getting into the topic of Can Exes Be Friends? We're
right.
Revisiting this topic, and Kevin and I had a conversation while I was actually on my way to meet him to record or go live with today's episode, and I said to him, not to sound like a dick, but we're best friends, we're family, but we're in 2 separate stages of our lives. I'm married with a child, and Kevin's a single guy, living, the bachelor life.
Word.
And it's a lot easier for him to make himself available than it is for me to make myself available.
Right.
So, we were just discussing, mom guilt and stuff like that. I work full time. My son is at school and at a babysitter most of his life. And, on the weekends, I like him to be home. And,
And I kind of made the comment, and I'm not ashamed to say the comment because I don't think it was anything. It might have come off a little bit dicky, but it wasn't.
It's not even that it came off dicky, and what you said didn't offend me. I was just pointing out that, you can tell me your opinion of how I should feel and how I should handle certain situations,
right.
But you honestly just don't get it.
Right. And it's not because you're right. We do live two separate lives where not two separate lives, but like you know, you're married, you have a kid, you have you work, and you have a lot going on. So yeah, the technical aspect of what we do, you know, does take time because there are times where you have to sit and figure out, why is this not working? Like even before, when I was testing before you even got here, I fired up the program and I wasn't getting sound. And I'm like, okay, why the hell am I not getting sound? I said, all right, maybe it didn't pick up the soundboard because I had plugged it in afterward or whatever the case may be. So through the trial and error of what you know, I have been doing and stuff, I figured out if I restart my computer, it'll read it because it's a weird glitch. But anyway, and that helps, you know, free me up to do the technical aspect, to take the time to do the editing and stuff like that.
Right.
So the reason I wanted to give you the credit for, you know, the social media aspect is because, you know, I understand that you're busy and that you have a lot going on, but you still find the time to be able to throw that out there and throw out the promotion.
Which brought me back to my point of why I even brought up the whole, you know, leading different kinds of lives type thing, was because it's easier for me to do stuff like that because I have my phone in my hands and I can easily do that while I'm, you know, cooking and or even giving Angelo dinner, whatever the case is. I can, you know, sit on my phone and throw a post on Facebook or send out a tweet. You know, I will be mostly controlling the Instagram soon because I have to get it put on my phone. And again, I'm not a techie, so I need Kevin to do that. So we're gonna get that accomplished before I leave.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't fucking understand Instagram. Like, I don't understand. Like,
I'm a Facebook girl.
I see people do like their stories and stuff, and they're like, swipe up for this and all that crap. And I'm like, okay, but how the fuck are you doing that?
Yeah, I don't get it either. I'm just going to throw out random posts and hopefully eventually I'll get the hang of it. I actually started just recently posting a lot more on my personal Instagram. Again, I really, you know, and you know what? I tried the whole Snapchat thing. I can't do it. It's not a thing. I highly doubt that there'll be a Real Friends, Real Talk Snapchat anytime soon.
Yeah, sorry, I had to like try not to kill my cat.
Cat problems.
Technical issues and cat problems. The bachelor life, yo. Yeah, I don't understand Snapchat. I think it's stupid, and I don't think it's necessary. Like, I see, like, there are people on Twitch who have Snapchat and whatever, like premium Snapchats for their subscribers and stuff, and I'm like, I don't think that's necessary. But on the topic, because we can easily stray off topic. Right,
we can easily stray off topic and have an hour-long conversation about probably 10 different things, but we are here to talk about Can Exes Be Friends? And I'm sure, as most of you know, that Kevin and I both agree that yes, exes can be friends because we are exes and we are best friends. And when I mean best friends, I mean like
we can basically finish each other's sentences.
Right, like a bond that's just so profound because we've just known each other for so long and we're just so comfortable around each other that there's like no holding back ever. Like I can tell him the most disgusting thing ever and he would just be like, okay, I have one that's more disgusting for you, and we can just go back and forth.
Like literally 5 minutes before the show started.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So because we're so comfortable and we don't have to ever hold anything back, it's just kind of natural for us.
Now, that not everybody can get to that point.
No, there are definitely, you know, circumstances involved. Kevin and I weren't together for a very long time. No. We were together for about 2 months. I'm not going to say there weren't any feelings there because there were, but again, it's not like we had like this decade-long relationship and then we broke up. I feel like if you've had a long relationship, it's a little bit harder to stay any kind of friend, let alone become best friends, become family, because that's really what we call ourselves. We are a non-traditional family.
Right, hashtag non-traditional family.
Make it happen.
But, like, in certain circumstances, like, if you have a kid, then you have to try to remain friends, right? But I don't know that it's possible. I mean, you can I'm
a
sure it
difference
is.
between being friends and being able to co-parent and have a civilized relationship with that other person because you do have a child together.
Right.
You know, like if Chris and I, God forbid, ever broke up, we would have to maintain some kind of civilized relationship because it's not fair to our son.
Right.
Or potential other children. Hint, hint, babe, if you're listening.
You start a war here.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, so it's definitely harder. There are definitely different circumstances in which cases, you know, you could become friends or you can't become friends. Personally, any ex that I had any type of like long-term relationship with, we are not friends.
It's funny that you say that because the other day I was scrolling through Facebook and the suggestions of people you may know, and a name came up, and I was like, ew.
Gee, I wonder whose name that was.
I don't think you really.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're not going to name any names. You know,
We're not looking.
I'm not looking to bash anyone,
right,
but I've had a couple of doozies, and Kevin's been there for all of them, so he has his likes and his dislikes.
Yeah, like we'll just call the one person Lockjaw. Right.
Yeah. Kevin really didn't like Lockjaw. Till this day, he hates him.
No, I don't understand why someone has to talk through their teeth. It just doesn't make sense. Anyway. So we've been through a lot of shit, man.
It's been a really roller coaster of the past almost 20 years. I mean, it's 2 decades, people. It's a long time.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like, we were children.
Yeah, we were 17. I was 17.
I was 18.
18, yeah.
We were kids. It hasn't been 20 years. It's been 19. Let's not age me. I am not going to be 38. I'm going to be 37. Let's not age me anymore. But it's been a long time. So we've been through it. We've been through births and deaths and
in between.
All the good, all the bad.
We almost died.
Several times together.
Yeah. The scariest would be the
on our way to the bar.
Yeah.
We were listening to the radio. Yeah. Smalls, you were there. We were listening to the radio and just had found out that Paul Walker had died in a horrific car accident. I'm sorry, it's not funny. And I was driving, minding my own business. We were actually on our way to Queens to go to a karaoke bar.
Yep.
And somebody decided they were going to run a stop sign and almost T-bone us. Thank God for my quick reflexes. And your good brakes. And my good brakes. Because I slammed on the brakes and swerved the car.
Yep.
And laid on my horn.
Yep. And I usually yell at her for that. I'm always like, even today, like on the way here, I'm like, you and your road rage, there it is.
But he loves me anyway.
Reared its ugly head again.
So I then proceeded to follow the car.
Actually, I believe
No, I said I'm following him.
Right.
And you said, you fucking better.
I said, you fucking ain't right, you are.
And
turn the corner real quick. I don't even think the car was at a complete stop. And I was out of that car yelling at these poor people.
They were at a stoplight, so they couldn't go anywhere.
And these poor, I feel bad now.
I don't feel bad. He almost killed us, son.
But you know what it might have been? Maybe he didn't realize the stop sign was there. Some people.
Please, open your eyes.
I've done it.
Open your eyes.
I've done it. Anyway.
I don't think you'd be singing that tune had that car actually hit us.
Oh, no. I wouldn't be singing anything except for, oh, my neck. Oh, God, my neck. And then throwing myself on the floor and,
I don't think you would have had to throw yourself on the floor. I'm pretty sure it would have just happened. They would have hit you. You would have got hit.
Sweet. The things we look forward to in life.
Anyway, so yeah, we've been through it all, and through it all, we've stuck together. Not without, our hiccups.
Right. Like our relationship hasn't been perfect. I mean, we've had our
Absolutely not. And I don't think that we have ever been closer than we have been in, I'd say, the last 5-6 years.
Yeah. Agreed.
We were always close. You know, we were always there for each other. We always had the we can tell each other anything kind of relationship. But I think as we got older, and, you know, when you get older, you lose friends, you make new friends, you lose those friends. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of get to learn what a real friendship should be. And a real friendship, like any relationship, is give and take.
Right.
And, you know, you have to know when to give yourself to that person, because that person might be in you know, a difficult situation. But you also have to know when to accept the help from the other person as well, because sometimes you find yourself in some pretty shitty situations.
Yep.
And as strong as you might be, sometimes you just need someone. Everybody needs someone. Yep.
And we've, you know, our arguments have always been pretty much over the same shit. Like it would always be like, well, you don't call me, or you don't have time for me. Like we've I think last year we had a little dust up about that.
Yeah. I feel like our arguments are like dumb. Like they're so dumb.
And the funny part is we're both like, we're probably two of the most stubborn people that we've ever known.
Right.
And like, so the last argument,
well, you're a Gemini and I'm a Taurus.
I don't know what that means.
That means, well, I'm stubborn because my sign is the bull. You don't get more stubborn than that.
Okay.
And you're a Gemini. You're the twin. So like you can go either way.
Well, okay. I was just gonna kind of say that because I was thinking about it the other night. Actually, I was thinking about like how our arguments like progress, and I wanted to bring this up. How the last argument that we had, like the last like real like I'm not calling her. She's probably sitting there going, well, I'm not calling him. Fuck him, right? And we literally, I think we went a week where we didn't like talk to each other or text each other.
About a week, which is really weird because we at least text every day.
Right. And then I'm just like, because my whole thing was, I was being stubborn because you were mad because I didn't text you back or call you back, but I text you or I called you or something, and you were like, well, you know, you didn't make the effort. And I'm like, but I did. But you only made the effort, you know, after or something. And I'm like, but I did.
Okay, but to just kind of like, without going into too much detail over our stupid arguments,
right?
We both learned from that situation though, also because
right.
When a situation arose that I felt like I need a little bit more attention from my friends, he now just gives it to me, and kind of like knows, like I don't have to tell him, hey, you should probably be checking in on me. Like, who wants to do that?
Right.
So I mean, like, but he's better at it now, and I'm better at expressing to him what I need instead of just getting mad and not speaking to him.
Right.
So.
And the funny thing was, the reason I wanted to bring that up is because we were literally like, we were just like, when we finally did text each other, because it was your birthday. That's what it was. And I text you on your birthday, and you were like, got a little snippy about it. And I'm like, all right, so we're doing this. All right, let's go then.
Right. On my birthday, he chooses to fight.
It wasn't a fight. I text you, even though I wasn't, I was like, if I don't do this, if I don't text her on her birthday, it would have been on.
Yeah, it would have.
So I was like, I'm just gonna, like, even though we haven't spoken in a week, I'm the bigger person. I'm not gonna be the dick.
Is he the bigger person or is he the smart person?
I'm the wider person. Does that count?
We're both pretty wide.
So I was like, I said, all right. So I messaged her and you know, we got to talking about what was going on and stuff, and we literally like, it was like a back and forth for like 40 minutes of like, well, I didn't do anything wrong. Well, I'm still I'm mad at you. And I'm like, finally at one point I'm like, all right, so what are we doing here? Because we're not getting anywhere in this argument. So what's up? And she was like, nothing. And like, boom, that was it. That was it.
I never said that I wanted to stop being friends with him because of this. I just wanted him to understand why I was upset.
Right, but the funny part was that we were going back and forth, and not like, not progressing anywhere in the argument because I wasn't caving in on my front.
Right, and I wasn't caving in either.
Right, so I was like, all right, so what do we do here?
It's just now like it's a dead issue now.
Right,
like what are we doing? Well, we're not going to stop being friends over something that was stupid.
Right.
And we're not getting anywhere by
we
just
call
continuously.
It a draw.
Right, we call it a draw. It is what it is. You understand why I'm upset. I understand where you were coming from and why you might be upset, and now we're done.
Right. And that's the way. And that comes from communication, and
it also comes from years of us getting into these stupid fights and then not talking for like months.
Right.
Which, every time that happened, I mean, we would come right back and it would be like nothing had ever happened, and and we were just instantly, connected again. But it's like, I don't want to continue to have relationships like that in my life. I'm older. I'm in my 30s. Like, it's time to grow up. We're not in high school anymore. Either we're going to be friends or we're not going to be friends.
Right. And you can have people who are in your life for, 20, 30 years that you kind of fall away from at some point because their life goes in a different direction. My best friend is married with 2 kids. I definitely see you more than I see him, and he lets me know about that. But more in a joking way. Like my friendship with him goes like we joke with each other, and he even how I always do with you about your job and taking off for whatever reason, and I'm like, do you even work anymore or whatever? I do that to him all the time. I'm like dude, do you even work? Do you even have a job? You're always on break. You're always 2-hour breaks and shit. Good job, MTA. But it's we never get to the point where it's and I've had fights and arguments with him too, and same thing. We're I'm not calling him, he's not calling me, and then I'll finally break down and be like, hey, what's going on? And he'll be like, oh, are we over it? Did you pass your cycle? I'm like,
did you stop bleeding?
Yeah.
Sorry, not to be gross.
I do that all the time. That's my new thing when people are annoying me and acting bitchy and being stupid. I'm like, yo, there's bloody vaginas everywhere, and people are just like.
I'm sure our listeners could have lived without that. Yeah,
maybe I'll cut that out and post. But you know what? Listen, this is how we are with each other.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. I'm not grossed out by it. Hey, I have been guilty of the bloody vagina myself.
If you weren't, then there might be a problem.
Exactly.
My God, I sounded so Jewish just now. If you don't, there might be a problem. But I mean, that's how I feel that's how everybody should be. You should be able to be open about everything with anyone, because we live in a society now where everything is just out in the open. Everybody is open with each other about things, and yeah, you have ignorant assholes who don't understand things, and we dealt with that the other day.
Unbelievable.
Don't we know?
I mean, somebody I've known as long as I've known Kevin, and I just could not believe what I was seeing him type. But anyway, that's a different subject for a different day, and we should actually discuss that topic.
And I think we will, but everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but it's how you present it to somebody. Where, first of all, here's the thing about an opinion, okay, that everybody misconstrues and everybody gets wrong. Your opinion cannot be right or wrong.
Right. It's your opinion.
It's an opinion.
It's not a fact. It's how you feel about a situation.
Right.
And again, another thing about opinions is people feel that they are entitled to preach them to people.
Right.
I do not preach my thoughts and my beliefs to anyone. I can only tell you how I feel about certain situations, and you take from that what you want, or don't take from it.
Right.
You can think I'm completely wrong, and that's fine. That's your right. Do not preach to me your opinion. I am not the one. I don't want to hear it. And I'm going to tell you that I don't want to hear it. And I'm definitely going to tell you when you're acting like a prejudiced, bigoted scumbag.
Tell us how you really feel.
Oh, I can go on and on, but I won't. Like I said, another topic for another day.
My friend Louie, rest in peace, used to say, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got them, and they all stink. And this, friends, is why we are best friends because we can do that and finish each other's sentences. So here's the thing. So people, and we didn't touch on this on the last episode on this topic, but people think our friendship is weird.
Right. People don't get it.
And the reason that people don't get it is because, and this is why we say non-traditional family, is because we have a non-traditional friendship. And it for the most part, like, yeah, people, and everybody loves to do this. Everybody loves to go, well, you know, I have friends who, you know, I see maybe once or twice every, like, 3 months. And I'm like, well, good for you. But I like to talk to my friends. In a sense, I'm kind of like a woman in that sense because I always like to be on the phone and shit like that. I admit that.
But again,
even from when I was 17.
Right. But but I also was on the phone a lot more back then. I just don't have the time.
Right.
See, this goes back to the whole, you know, we lead different types of lives thing. I have a family that I'm taking care of after I work a full-time job. So it's like, I don't have time to be on the phone for an hour. I would love to.
Right.
But it's just not there.
And this is where part of that argument that we had recently, the last argument that we had back in May, kind of stemmed from, because you were getting mad because I wasn't calling you or texting you or asking you something about how you were feeling, and and my answer was, but I called you and you didn't answer, so why are you mad at me, right? But what I learned from that situation is, okay, maybe she's not able to answer, and there are plenty of times where I call and she doesn't answer, and I'm like, fuck no, because I want to, like, talk to somebody, or I want to vent to somebody about something, because I'm always venting to somebody about something. And, you know, and when you don't answer, I admit, I hang up the phone, God damn it. And I'm like, all right, let's try the next one. And I call Jerry. And then, you know, if he doesn't answer, and then I'm like, oh,
call Sal.
No,
we don't call Sal.
We don't call Sal. Sal just kind of like, Sal just shows up at like 10 o'clock at night, and he's like, what's up? And then we go into, like, last night we were literally sitting here at like 4 o'clock in the morning talking about shit we were doing in 1999 and Kmart and I'm like, this is what 35-year-old men do
that don't have wives
or lives.
Right.
This is what we do. We reminisce about the good old fucked up days, but I think our days are a lot more.
And I just want to say, at any point, if you have anything you want to add, if you want to ask a question about us, about our friendship, about how we think it, you know, works for us, please feel free and join in.
Don't think that you have to sit there and go, oh, I don't know if I should ask this. Ask us anything. Nothing is off limits. Nothing is a secret. Nothing is a secret between you and I and your husband. He's aware of every bit of our friendship.
Yes.
And
I would like to keep the questions, though. I'm going to say this. I would like to keep the questions about us as individuals. I don't really want to answer questions about my husband or my son.
Okay, that's fair.
You know, if I choose to share something, that's one thing, but I don't want to answer questions about them. Anything you want to ask about me,
really,
go right ahead.
About the topic at hand.
Yes. Well, that's what I mean. About whatever topics we're discussing. Anything you want to ask me, I'm all for it. I'm open.
Right. So, feel free to, the chat room's open. Jump in chat. Ask our your questions. And
I guess just as a refresher for people who didn't get to hear the previous show, I'll give you a little bit of our background.
Okay.
Kevin, interestingly enough, Kevin and I went to FDR High School together. However, we did not meet until we both dropped out and entered a diploma completion / GED prep program.
Right.
Called the Vocational Training Center, aka VTC.
Like, the adventures of VTC of 2000 was...
Yes, Kevin and I have been friends since about, I would say, January of 2000. So it's been 19 years.
When did you go to VTC? When did you start?
January? Yeah, January 2000.
Because I remember I was there before you. I started in September of
99.
Yeah, 99. Yeah. Wow. Wild.
So... New
York City public education, folks.
Right. So we met there in 2000 and we became friends and then we started dating.
Yep.
We dated for about 2 months.
Yep.
Oh, wait, maybe I started in December of 99. Because we met in January.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes, because, or maybe like end of November, maybe, because I spent Christmas at your house. Not Christmas, but like
New Year's.
New Year's at your house that year. And
Okay.
Yes. And because I remember your tree and your lights and
right.
and
Okay. So I'm wrong. So okay, it's been 19 years. Okay. Wow, it's gonna be 20 years. That's so crazy. All right. So, anyway, so we had started dating, and about 2 months later, we broke up. That wasn't an easy breakup. It wasn't a mutual breakup.
Nope. They were hurt feelings and
there were hurt feelings involved. We're not going to divulge too much into that because I mean it's really water under the bridge 19 years later.
Faces, just saying.
We're not going to get into that because you will not end up the good guy at the end of that scenario, I promise.
Listen, it is what it is.
So we broke up and then I don't think we weren't friends for long though.
No, I mean we still had to see each other. So
well, we saw each other in the class every day, but but again, it didn't last long.
Didn't like Edna sit us down and was like, all right, what's going on?
I think so.
And we were like, she did this to me, and well, he did this to me. And
Edna Gruber, she was awesome.
She was one of the best teachers I think I ever had.
Me too. She was really cool.
Oh, man, we made her life hell though.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
But again, we were teenagers and we were young and stupid. But that's another topic for another day.
I'll be honest, I probably would still do the same thing. I think I would react the same way to all the situations that we had going on there.
I don't think so.
I totally would have like flipped the table on Francesca.
Maybe that, yes. I agree.
That girl pissed me off
I know.
that day.
And Kevin has a temper. A big temper.
Yes. And not...
But so do I.
And the funny thing is people think that I don't have it because they don't see it. But when they see it, they're like, yo, what the
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Because it explodes. And when it explodes, it's bad.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad myself. All of my good friends can vouch for that. Right, Smalls?
Yeah.
I keep referencing Smalls. So, again, for those of you who did not hear our show, the first episode, Smalls, well, her name is Noreen. She is part of our non-traditional family. We have all known each other for a very long time. Smalls and I also met in high school, so I've known her about the same amount of time I've known Kevin. Maybe even longer.
Yes.
I've known Smalls longer.
Because you guys were friends before we met.
We call her Smalls because she is a legal midget coming in at a whopping 4'9". I love you, Smalls. Thank you so much for your support all the time.
Yes.
She's a diehard fan. She listens to every show. She
watches my streams.
She does. She watches Kevin's streams.
And we're still trying to teach her like to point out like technical issues when I'm streaming. It's like if a game is like echoing or something, it's like I'm like, Smalls, you got to tell me. And then she'll text me or like message me on like Facebook, and I'm like, no, message me in chat. I have a chat window open. Message me in chat and tell me that there's an issue. Because I then have to minimize the screen, and it fucks everything up. But we're getting there. We're getting there, Smalls. Don't worry.
So Smalls is, she's part of this family. So we will reference her. And like I said, she listens to every show, so I can see her. She always tells me. She always lets me know she's listening in the chat. So
we will be doing an on-location show at Smalls' house.
We definitely will. Maybe we'll even have her on as a special guest. We'll see.
Okay. We can do that.
But... yeah, so I'll reference her a lot and things like that because I know she's listening. And now everyone else knows who she is as well, so.
We'll make her a star.
And other family members or friends who may be listening who we haven't mentioned, we don't know who's listening to us. So make yourselves known and we can give you a shout out too.
Definitely. I know my sister usually tries to catch us when we're there, when we're on.
I also want to say this. If you can't listen to the live show for whatever reason, because I mean me of all people know life sometimes gets in the way. That's why our days of actually recording and doing the live shows fluctuate between a Saturday and a Sunday, because I just don't know when I'm going to be able to have the time to do this. But we are recording the episode, so you can listen to us on the YouTube channel, or you can also get us at Spotify, iTunes.
We're working on Google.
We're working on Google. They're a little bit of a pain.
We have a review into Google, so.
We're also on Podbean, SoundCloud,
and Blueberry. So these are, you can stream the episode, you can download the episode, and you can listen. It'll be up probably shortly after we end this today. It'll be up, and subscribe, like.
Please, we're on Instagram at Real Friends Real Talk. Please like us, follow us, and our Twitter is at Friends Talk Pod. So like us on Twitter so we can become official.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that. Twitter.
I want my blue check.
Word.
We're also on Facebook at Real Friends Real Talk, and of course, if you ever want to give us suggestions about upcoming topics that we can use, or if you have a question about a topic we've already covered, if you want to share an opinion of a topic that we've already covered, our email is realfriendsrealtalk@gmail.com.
Now we as the show progresses, we're gonna there might be episodes where we're a little more laid back and we joke around and we tell stories about like the craziness that has been the last 20 years. But there are also going to be, the hard-hitting episodes. We're not afraid to talk about the hard-hitting stuff. Like the last episode was about addiction.
Which we're going to touch on that again eventually.
And
we've also discussed doing a show about mental health.
Yes. We also, I had an idea of talking about doing a show about alternative parenting and fostering and
adoption,
stuff like,
things like that. So we want to talk about everything except politics. I refuse. I won't do it.
Yeah, I think that's for the best.
I think politics ruins friendships. Prime example, something that happened to us this week that we won't name names, but he's a dumb douchebag. We were friends for 20 years. Now we're not friends anymore because
of an opinion
that was preached.
Correct.
Don't preach your opinions.
So, what do you think makes our friendship work? What do you think drives our friendship to the point where people don't understand?
I think as different as we are, we have pretty much the same personality, if that makes any sense. We have a very similar sense of humor, so it's easy for us to find the things that we find funny from the other person because it's funny to us. Like
if you were the type of person to we wouldn't be able to make fart jokes or anything like that, then it would be.
We make more than jokes.
But if we couldn't, and that's the thing, it's if you can't be yourself around people, then why even want to be around that person? That's my.
I am not going to say that I'm friends with somebody if I have to constantly feel tense and uptight around them. If I have to walk on eggshells to be around you, you are not my friend. You're just somebody that I tolerate. Right. Bottom line.
Or an acquaintance.
Right. Or somebody that I have no choice but to be nice to.
Or a friend of a friend.
Right. I'm not going to. I was just going to say something that was going to get me in trouble. I got to keep my mouth shut. Okay. I have a hard time keeping my mouth shut, folks. It's real hard for me not to just say whatever I'm thinking, but I'm going to try my best. Oh, God. I completely just lost my train of thought.
Oh,
what
wow.
What were we talking about? Mom brain.
Not wanting to be around people who.
Oh, right. So if I have to walk on eggshells around you, you're not my friend.
Right. And
I have very few friends, and I think that that's because of that. But you know what? I prefer to have a small circle.
Right.
I'd prefer to have 2 or 3 people who I know have my back 100% and whose back I have 100% than 12 or 13 or 15 or 20 people that are going to pretend to be my friend to my face. And then once I'm not there, talk all the shit in the world.
Right. See,
I talk shit to my friends' faces. That's, you know.
As do I.
That's just how I am. If you're being an asshole, I'm going to tell you you're being an asshole. And Kevin can attest to that because I've told him, you know, not in a mean way, but like.
No, you legit said like you're being an asshole.
Right. I have. But I mean, there's also other ways to approach it. Like not to be a jerk, but I think you're being a dick right now.
Right.
That's nice.
And if you say so. But no, like I don't hold back for. I mean, you can ask my sister. She 100% can attest. I do not hold back. If it's in my head and my blood pressure's going up, it's likely going to come out of my mouth.
Of course.
And
people say a lot of things when they're mad.
Has it gotten me in trouble? Yes. Was there the time that I threatened to slap 4 kids on the train because they were freaking staring at me and laughing? Yeah. Could I have easily gotten my ass kicked? Yes. But then you just turn around and play crazy, and you know they get off the train because they think you're a lunatic, and they don't know if I'm gonna.
I think we're getting a little off topic now. You're rambling.
Sorry.
Stop rambling.
Sorry. No offense, but you're rambling.
So I know we have some people who are listening right now. Do you guys have any questions? Any thoughts? Any opinions? Any experiences you want to share?
I have a question.
Of course you do.
What made us decide to do this podcast?
You.
Okay. I guess for the simple answer.
No, I mean, you came to me. I mean, you know, and you were like, I think we should do a podcast. I think we should pretty much talk about different topics and our views on them, and then I agreed and we started talking more about how we wanted this to go, and pretty much I said pretty much how it's been going. I want to sit down and have a conversation with you.
Right. And I think part of what my goal to start this podcast is because we have what we, you know, hashtag non-traditional family. We want to build that, you know, that friendship and that family with our listeners. And by doing so, we want to be able, like, if you ask us questions, we want to be able to give you, like, real talk advice. Like, we're not going to, like, beat around the bush. And
I don't sugarcoat things.
Yeah, okay, we don't know you, but if you come and say, oh, well, my boyfriend's always yelling at me, and we're going to straight up be like, yo, leave his ass, because he a bitch, you know? Like, we're going to give it to you straight.
I might tell you to punch your husband in the face. I mean, it happens.
Let's not condone domestic violence, though.
Okay, no, I'm not condoning domestic violence. That was really just a joke.
Because in most states, like, if there is any kind of, like, police call to domestic violence, both people will end up getting arrested. But, you know, I guess that doesn't work in New York. Only the guy gets arrested. I'm just saying.
Okay, not a topic we're going to discuss. But I was joking. I'm not going to tell you to punch anyone in the face, but I will tell you to rip them to shreds with your words, though, because I'm very notorious for that as well.
Right. And I think that's the key right there. That's the key. You and I both have that capability. I learned that from my mother.
And your sister.
My grandmother and my sister. Well, my sister got it from my grandmother and my mother, who then
passed it on
to me. Is my sister better at tearing somebody to shreds? Absolutely. I will not.
I agree.
I've read some of the shit that my sister has said to, like, people that she's cut off in her life, and I'm like, there's a lot of thought in that. Like, I don't think I can think that far.
But there's a lot of thought in everything she writes.
Right. Because my sister's good.
She is very good.
My sister actually is a published author. She was in a poem that was published in a book.
Wow.
Years ago. Yep.
That's awesome.
I'm also a published author, but a self-published
yes, I know.
author. Self-published author.
I bought 2 books. Anyway.
Oh, and perfect example, right? How many nights when I was writing that book was I reading you each chapter?
A lot of nights.
It took me a long time to write the book, but the only person whoever sat there and listened to every friggin' word that was coming onto that page, even before any changes were made, grammatical or otherwise, you were that person. Many nights. Many
nights on the phone. Literally, he read me every single page of that book, because I'm not a reader. I really am not a reader. Like, I'm not a book reader.
So technically, I did an audiobook.
Yes, you did.
Word.
We should have recorded it.
Word.
So he knew that I was not a reader, and that if he gave me the book, I probably wouldn't read it on my own. So, or if I did, it would take me a really long time.
It wasn't that long.
And he wanted my feedback.
Right.
So he would read to me as he wrote.
Right. And this was, you were dating Lockjaw at the time. I think.
I was.
So the key to making a friendship work with an ex would be you have to know your boundaries. And this was something that I had mentioned also in the description. You have to know your boundaries. You have to know, we don't sit and, like, when we tell stories about, like, our past or whatever, it's never like, oh, remember that time that, we were out and, like, you looked really nice or anything. It's never like that. It's always like, remember that time we almost killed those people in that car because they almost fucking hit us?
It's like, never, remember back when we were together? Like,
right.
Like other people we know who did that
right.
in front of their new significant other. But anyway.
Right.
Yeah, it's never like that.
And
I also think it's really important that the other person doesn't have a current partner that's jealous.
Right.
Chris is not a jealous guy. Chris has, and it's funny because we discussed this the other night. Like, Chris has no inkling in his mind that Kevin and I are ever going to be anything more than the friends that we are.
Even though we did have a friend who made that suggestion, and, like, we told Chris, and, like, Chris was like, he laughed. Number one, he laughed, right? And then
number one, he laughed.
Then when we were all together, me, Chris, Jess, and the person who made this not assumption, but this idea, right?
I called him out on it. That
something can happen. Literally, Chris looked at him and shook his head and went, "You're an asshole."
Yep.
So, but that you have to know who you're dealing with, and the biggest thing, and this is not to be, like, shady or whatever, my biggest thing when I met Chris was I want him to understand that we're just friends. And, to do that, you have to make friends with that person too. It's not just a matter of,
right.
Like, oh, I'm gonna call Jess. Like, if I don't get Jess on the phone, like, I'd call Chris.
You know what? And again,
Chris doesn't want to talk to people.
Right. Chris is not, he's not a very social person. He's kind of an introvert. But this kind of touches on the subject of how people don't understand our friendship. And, my answer to that is, you don't have to understand it. I don't care if you understand it. You know what our friendship is? Our friendship is...
Our friendship.
And it's when your grandmother dies and your friend comes and sits at a wake for your grandmother on his birthday. That's what a friend is.
Or when your friend shows up at your it's so funny because, like, two grandmother stories. Mm-hmm. Like, when your friend shows up at your grandmother's funeral and everybody's being rushed out of the funeral home into the car, and they drive to Long Island to the burial. Like, that's what you do. And that was way after,
we had been together and broken up, and, it's been a long road, but it's been fun, Yeah. A friend to me is somebody who is going to be there for you no matter what, no matter how long it's been, even if I haven't talked to you. Like I said, Kevin and I really didn't become as close as we are until about, I would say, probably like 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, something like that. But we were always close, and I said we would lose touch here and there, but...
I think it was when I came, and we talked about this the first time we discussed this, was when I came back from Florida.
Right. And that again, perfect example of friendship. Kevin moved to Florida.
Yep.
Kevin was gone. Kevin was miserable. When he first got there, it was good. As the time went on, it got worse and worse and worse. And we would talk on the phone. And he sounded so miserable. And I would hate hearing him sound like that.
I was also drunk a lot, too.
Which also worried me.
Yes.
And
like a lot.
I said to him one day, I'm like, dude, you need to come home.
Well, there was a whole bunch of shit that went down that I'm not going to go into detail, especially in this podcast. Maybe we'll touch on that episode. Maybe we'll do like a surviving a cult thing, because in a way it was kind of a cult, like a weird way.
It was. Can we finish
the
topic?
So there was so much shit that was going down, and I had called her, and I had told her everything that was happening. Everything that was happening. I think you might have been the only one who knew every friggin' iota of what went down. And you were like, dude, you gotta come home. And I was like, I would if I could. I was broke. I had a court date that had to go down to Fort Lauderdale, which was 4 hours away from where I was living, which was a month later. And that was a whole nothing crazy. I got speeding tickets, whatever. I was young and dumb. Not so young, but dumb. And so I called you and I told you everything, and you were like, you need to come home. I said I would if I could. You were like, well, when do you want to come home? When would you come home? I said I'd leave tomorrow. And you were like, I'll call you back. I said, okay. I'm sitting there drinking my fucking 40, sitting outside drinking my 40. And you called me up and you were like, you have a 4 o'clock bus ticket out of Tampa tomorrow. Pack your shit, you're coming home. And I was like, okay. And I packed my shit and I left.
Best decision ever.
Word.
I don't regret that at all. I would do it 100 times again if I had to, because I heard the desperateness in his voice.
Honestly, like, looking back at it now and seeing, like, everything that went down in that situation and everything that went down with the people involved, had I stayed there,
you'd be in jail.
I would have gone to jail. 100%.
You might just be getting out right now.
Yeah, or no, I probably would have gotten, like, maybe, like, 3 years. Because the other one got, like, 3 years.
But it was becoming a scary and dangerous situation that he just didn't need to be involved in. He needed to come home. I had the means to get him home, and that's what I did.
If you guys only knew the amount of supposed scary that was involved in this whole situation, you'd be like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, granted, like, we don't know each other, like, viewers, listeners, we don't know each other, but you would turn around and go, what the fuck are you thinking? Because you know what? Half the time when all this shit was going down, I was sitting there going, what the fuck am I thinking? Like, why am I not coming home?
It was definitely a scary situation, but you know what? Everything happens for a reason, because it brought us closer than we ever were, and we've remained that way. And, you know, we've been through a lot, you know? I mean, I know we keep saying that, and I wish we had time to sit here and tell you all of the stories, but we'd be here for forever.
Yeah.
But, you know...
Probably about 20 years.
Yeah. But, you know, I don't want to divulge too much into this because, you know, it's Kevin's thing, so I feel like he should be the one to really talk about it. But Kevin's dad was diagnosed with cancer a couple of years ago. And,
actually, almost a year and a half ago, on Father's Day, we found out that he was diagnosed with cancer.
And he was sick and unable to attend Kevin's sister's wedding.
Yep.
And I remember walking into the wedding because Chris and I were there.
Yep. And
Kevin standing online, waiting to walk down the aisle because he was in the bridal party, and him handing me his phone and saying, you need to Facebook Live the wedding so my dad can see it. Yep. And I did that, and I was proud to do that. Even with tears in my eyes, I did it because I knew it was important. And, you know, shortly after that, it was maybe like a month later.
Yeah.
Kevin's dad passed away.
Yep.
And, you know, a friend is somebody who comes to your dad's memorial service.
Yep.
and cries with you because they feel the pain that you're going through, even though it isn't happening to them.
Right.
But when Kevin, after everything was said and done, got up from where he was sitting and came to where I was sitting and looked at me with tears in his eyes, he sat down and we both cried together, because that's the kind of friendship we have. And I really wish that everyone had someone like that.
Dude, if every and I'm not sitting here trying to like toot our own horns, but if everybody in the world had our friendship, had the kind of friendship and openness and love for each other, and when I say love for each other, I don't just mean me and Jess. I mean me, Jess, and Chris. Okay.
And Noreen.
Yes. Sorry.
And I mean, we got to get Noreen on the I'm sorry.
That's okay.
On the podcast, because she's 100% a part of all of this, and we have to have Chris on too. We are hashtag a non-conventional family and
non-traditional.
Non-traditional family.
Correct.
Hashtag non-traditional family.
Right.
And we've really been through some hellish times together, and I don't know what I would do without them, because I don't think that I would be able to get through half the shit that I got through if it weren't for them.
Right.
And again,
I feel the same way.
I really think that like everyone should have people like this in your lives. Like, people, you don't have to have 1 million friends. You don't have to have 10,000 followers. As long as you have a group of people, a small handful of people who you know are going to be there for you, you're golden.
Right.
It's all I need.
You like if you see people who have like big, large families, right? There's always drama. When you have a small, closer, and the same goes with a large circle of friends. You have a large circle of friends. There's always drama. There's always somebody who doesn't like the way this person looked today, or said, oh, she looked at me funny, or she gave me the stink eye. Katrina Gavor gave me the stink eye. Like, like, she's not giving you the stink eye. That's just her face. But, and yes, I'm quoting Juno.
Hold on. I'm on my hamburger phone.
Honest to blog. So when you have a large circle of friends, you're going to run into issues, and you're going to run into people who are jealous, she's,
there's always going to be drama. I mean, not that we don't get on each other's nerves,
right,
but the difference between us and other people is that I'm going to tell you that you're annoying me,
right,
and vice versa. If I'm saying something that's annoying you or pissing you off, you're going to tell me. Same thing with Smalls, like, we just...
Unfortunately for poor Smalls, that happens.
That happens a lot, but we love you, Smalls.
We love you, Smalls.
And even with Chris, like, if we're doing something fucked up to one another, we're gonna come out and say it, and that's why we're still friends,
right? Because
we're able to be like, hey, dude, you're simmer down,
right?
You're on 10, I need you on 5,
right?
That type of thing. Like, just chill out, and we're able to discuss things and talk about things and get over things.
Like Chris and I have the same friendship with him that I have with you. There are no boundaries. There's nothing I can't say. Like, I can tell my fart jokes and my other jokes and be as...
And lay together holding each other in a bed in just your underwear.
Right. There's photo evidence of that.
There is photo evidence
Perhaps someday that'll end up on Instagram. We'll see. I don't own the copyright to that, so...
Right.
But, Chris and I are just as good of friends as me and Jess. Granted, I've known Jess 20 years almost, but Chris is just as an important part of my life as he is to Jess, Right. And if he's going through a hard time, and even like, it's funny because when we were mad at each other, he like would get on the phone and be like, look, I don't know why she's mad at you, but like, I'm sure you did something fucking stupid. So like, just like fix it, like, do what you got to do, that's it, I love you. I'll talk to you later. And I'm like, all right. Like, he would like think like there was things like he would get like not annoyed, like he'd get like upset like if he thought we were mad at each other.
Yeah, because he knows how important our friendship is to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Even though he thinks that we're all afraid of you.
Right. Everyone's afraid of me and my strong personality. Oh, sorry about that. But we're at the hour point, so I want to kind of wrap things up a little bit. Maybe next week's episode we can touch a little bit more on some of the topics we're going to talk about, and actually maybe have a little bit longer of a podcast because we are doing it on a Saturday. So
yes.
But that's another thing. We will be going live Saturday instead of Sunday next week. Probably later in the evening. Yeah,
probably Saturday night. Mainly for two reasons. Well, I forgot your reason already. But I know for me.
Well, I'm just gonna have an open night Saturday. Chris and I will both be here. Maybe we could talk about something that we can involve him in. Also, we'll see. If he wants to do that. And Kevin's doing his Super Bowl thing.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Super Bowl Sunday. We're not gonna have a show on Super Bowl Sunday.
Go Rams.
But yeah, if you guys have anything you want to talk about, regarding this episode or last week's episode, please feel free to hit us up on Twitter at Friends Talk Pod. Also on Instagram at Real Friends Real Talk, and we're on Facebook also at Real Friends Real Talk. Or you can email us and stay anonymous at realfriendsrealtalk@gmail.com, and tell your friends about our show and let them know they can listen to us.
Yep. You can download the stream. You can download or stream on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Podbean, Blueberry, among other things. And we will continually be adding to.
And YouTube. You can go back to YouTube and listen to the episode again.
Yes. And if you guys have any other suggestions as to things that.
Yes, because right now we don't know what we're talking about next week. So.
Right. We might just be shooting the shit.
If you have any, suggestions or, you want to hear us talk about something, please let us know. Also, this is just a thought I had in my head, and I'm going to leave you guys actually with this. If Kevin doesn't mind, if he does, he'll interject. But I'm going to ask a question at the end of every episode and give you guys, a chance to answer and respond. You can send your responses into any of the social media feeds we told you about or to our email.
Okay.
And then in the beginning of the next episode, we'll answer the question or we'll discuss it a little bit.
That's fair. I'm with that.
Okay, so here, question number 1. Where should me, Kevin, and Chris do vacation 2019?
Ooh, yes.
Keep in mind, we're not trying to spend thousands and thousands and thousands, but we want to hear your suggestions because we have no idea.
As much as we'd like to go to Turks and Caicos,
it ain't happening.
As much as we'd like to go to Maldives, it ain't happening.
So,
but we will make that happen.
Yes, we will make that happen. It's just not happening this year. Right. So we need realistic goals. So guys, again,
Tombstone, Arizona. I've answered the question. I've solved the mystery already.
The question of this week is, where should we do vacation 2019? We hope to hear from you. Let us know what you think.
Yep.
We'll see you next week.
And thank you guys for listening. And we will we'll catch you on the flip side.
Peace out.